Hey girl.
Hey mama.
Ready to get unschooled?
Totally.
Welcome to Moms Unschooled,
where we break down all the things from the mundane to the magnificent, so you can think for yourself and do what's right for you.
Hey Erin.
Hey Sarah.
Welcome to Moms Unschooled.
Hey everybody, listen, I have a subject that has been on my heart for a good while now, and it's time I get unschooled about it. I want to learn about the environment. I have to learn about it first, so therefore I can get my kids interested in helping keep life sustained on our earth and helping our environment in ways that our family can get excited about. And of all people I thought in the world that could help me get unschooled, it is my dear friend Michelle. We have her today. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
I have so many questions for you, but I guess let's let our listeners understand a little bit about who you are.
Okay, great. Well, I just love your intro, Erin, about saying I need to learn first so I can teach my children, because you're right, we can't give what we don't have. So that's beautiful. All right, so number one, I would say I'm a servant of God, and then mom, wife, household 6, volunteer in the community, and I have degrees and a background in marketing and global business.
Fantastic. Now, I had you on the episode today to unschool me because I see your family giving back to our environment in so many ways, but they're quiet ways, Michelle. I see you on nature hikes. I see the snacks you bring on hikes, how they're in reused granola cereal bags. I need you to explain to me why this became so important to you, how it became important to you, and we'll just go from there.
Okay, years ago I was volunteering for a nonprofit supporting military families. I met an individual. He ran an organization focused on food waste diversion, reduction, and over time, waste reduction in general. It has become a passion of mine, a cause that I really want to help my family understand more about. And primarily it is because it aligns with our moral teachings, our moral values in Christianity. We need to make sure that all of our actions are aligning with our
Practices and habits as a family.
Yes, our practices, habits as a family.
So Michelle, with that, having this position and becoming so environmentally conscious yourself, how are you bringing this consciousness into your family and your children's everyday life?
So I think I'll start with shopping. You know, how do we shop as a family?
Yes.
I only go to the store once a week. That's it. Once a week. And I have a very organized, specific list. I only buy what's on the list. If there's a special occasion or I know 1 or 2 items that I might need, that's totally understandable. That happens to all of us, but I'm pretty disciplined about that. I only shop a little bit online. Again, I don't really make any impulse buys. I try to think about it. I take my time. As a family, we take our time. I try to teach the children that. And so, going back to every week routine shopping. So I buy what I need for the week, what's on my list, because the store is very tempting. Online is very tempting.
Sure.
And generally I focus just immediately on real food. So what are the things that, are grown, fruit, vegetables? And, as I move through the grocery store, I try to consider, which of these products that I'm buying has the most simple ingredients that I know that are in there. So non-processed food, so real food. So this helps us not only buy what's grown, but also, we're moving away from, so much manufacturing and so many wild things that we're putting into our bodies. And so this actually goes back to, I mentioned our moral teachings. So we're trying to respect the environment, creation, and so we also have to respect our bodies. So we're respecting materials, respecting everything. So why would I put something into my body that I know is going to ruin it or be disrespectful to
Absolutely.
what is created?
So is one of the primary reasons you're only going once a week to reduce the carbon footprint of physically traveling to and from the store, and then also it sounded like you're being conscious about if something was processed, you're looking at the carbon footprint and all the production that goes behind those more processed items versus just transporting and preparing a fresh fruit or vegetable.
Right. So why do I go to the store once a week? Well, I think with families, with a lot of volunteer positions, I mean, with so many other ways that we could be using our time, I just feel like, again, back to not wasting. Why would I waste my time going to the store
love that.
multiple times a week?
So it's not just being wasteful from a physical product perspective. It's more about being mindful of any resources you have, which can be time, the environment,
right.
anything. Got it. I love that.
Time is a treasure. So yes, exactly. I mean, we're trying to teach our children. It is a whole plethora of things we need to consider when we are using resources.
I love that. With that, because your children are middle-aged children, tweens, teens, in there, they are becoming aware of their surroundings. You are teaching them respect time, respect material, respect the earth, respect your body. It is all one subject. And you are making these well-rounded, whole and wholesome children. I love that. What kind of discussions or projects do you have with these kids to keep them environmentally conscientious?
Okay. So I would say when we're discussing environmental friendliness, let's see, with my kids, I remind them, most importantly, we did not create the world. God created the world. It does not belong to us. So we have to immediately detach ourselves from owning it, thinking that we control it, thinking that we can do whatever we want to it. The same way that we teach our children, this doesn't belong to you. You know, it doesn't belong to us. So this is God's creation. We have to, number one, respect it. We have to love it. And so this is how I teach the children. So number one, you know, don't leave your trash around, inside, outside, pick up after yourselves. We try to ride our bikes. Erin mentioned we like to hike, we walk. We try to avoid driving when able, especially, you know, driving up the street. Why not take a little walk? And then the other piece here, we focus a lot on reducing food waste. I mentioned buying less, so this idea of source reduction. But, you know, with the kids, trying to teach them, if you have something that's left in your lunchbox, don't throw it out. Leave it in your lunchbox. Bring it home. We'll talk about it. We'll decide if we need to put this in there next day. Or one of us will eat it, you know, after school. We don't need to throw out this food. So the other piece is leaving food on your plate after you eat a meal. So not leaving anything or not putting anything into the trash. We are all called to move more towards Christian poverty. So we have plenty. We are very fortunate. We are very blessed. We all have jobs, we have food, we have more than we need. And so we actually want to move more in the direction, as we're discussing, of needing less, wanting less, focusing more on trying to give of ourselves more. So we can take this a step further. We're talking about the environment, but giving our services, our gifts, our time, our money, just all the way around, just emptying ourselves more of these needs. So this applies to the environment. It applies to our entire lifestyle, the way we should be acting.
I love how you had mentioned essentially the day before a shopping venture to the grocery. It's more like the preparation of it all has set you up. So not only are you not wasting food through the week, you have created a relationship, a conversation piece with the family in terms of the dialogue. What are we eating this week? What are the activities that are going to drive the meal plan this week? So now we are not wasting our time traveling for silly errands through the week. We've knocked it all out in one fell swoop. The time management, the wastelessness at the store, the preparedness not to waste things like Erin's plastic bags leaving the store, and then not wasting the food after you leave. I love the idea of the preparedness, and if anyone knows me, they know that is something I desperately lack in as it is. So that is a really great goal for me to set in terms of my little steps. When I'm talking to my family now, and my family is a little bit younger than yours, Michelle, what are some first steps we can take as a family together?
So I'd mentioned this idea of a hierarchy. So number one, getting back to this, we have source reduction, having less of everything. Next, on that level, and this is how I explain it to my kids, okay, well, what can we reuse? So you'd mentioned the bags. So we were a family that was using, dozens of plastic bags, of Ziploc bags all the time. With the exception of one of my dear friends who also doesn't use any Ziploc bags. I know this is a problem we all face. Our kids feel more comfortable bringing a new bag to school. We're worried about, or if they're homeschooled even, we're just worried about cleanliness. We want them to have something fresh, but in reality, we're perfectly capable, as you mentioned, reusing bags, throwing things in the wash. There are no limits, and when you start to look at every single plastic bag that you purchase something in, you are just amazed at, how many ways that you can use it. And your kids start to see this. So you do it, they're watching you, and you're providing that example to them.
So what would you say to people who just say, well, I recycle it? What's wrong with that?
Right, but by purchasing Ziploc bags, we're already then using all of these resources to get to that bag. So manufacturing it, and so back to the environmental piece. People, machinery, equipment, electricity, all types of things that go into producing this plastic bag. I'm throwing it in the trash. Yes, I'm recycling, and also there are no places to really recycle plastic anymore. Nobody's really taking it. So this is a major, major problem in the world. So we absolutely need to be trying to reuse plastic, look towards anything reusable to put our containers. There's so much when you come home from the store that is already at your disposal to reuse.
This is fascinating. I love this. Are there any other takeaways that you can think of, Michelle, as we dive into Erin's baby steps?
Yeah, and what could Erin do tomorrow? 2 things she could do in her house.
And
she's gonna do them.
I'm going to try harder in terms of preparation before the store, have my bags with my mask. I actually had a conversation with my kids this week. Help me turn off the lights before we leave our house. And I tried to explain that it's not just a light bulb that will flicker out, that is energy, that's resources that our world has. And I like how you said it's not ours. We are just fortunate enough to be able to use it. What are some other things that I can do tomorrow? 2 things I can do tomorrow with my family.
So I would focus on the next purchase that you're going to make.
Okay.
So whatever that purchase it is in your family, decide, do we really need this? Sit on it for a couple days and decide, do we really need this? So, maybe it could be anything up to like a car, for example. You could be considering purchasing a car. Sit on that one for a little bit longer, but it could be an article of clothing, an old pair of cleats. Really think about it. Even go out while you're thinking about it. Go to the thrift store. Think about your neighbors. Start to have a dialogue with people, and you will find that you probably don't need it, whatever it is. So really contemplate your next purchase. And that's a piece, I think, for reusing. So again, back to the idea of all of the resources that go into producing something, that you're saving all of those resources, and you're saving money. It's more efficient. It just brings everything full circle. So that's one piece. Try to focus on your next purchase. Do I really need this?
I like that. Okay.
And then the other piece I would say to really focus on in your family is the food waste, because we remind ourselves in our family, there's a Pope Francis quote, and he says, wasting food is like stealing from the poor. And so every single thing that we throw into the trash can, every piece of food, is taking away, in reality, from someone in this world that doesn't have something to eat. Over 30% of our food in the world is wasted. And we need to, yes, as consumers, we are wasting that much food. And so I would focus as a family at not throwing anything in the trash. Look at ways at integrating it into another meal. Make sure that you don't throw away your food.
And you can freeze so much. I have about 2 pounds of beer cheese that we made for an event last weekend in the fridge. And I was looking out the other night. I was like, can I freeze this? What do I do with all this? Because we're not going to eat it in one sitting. And you can freeze it. So
this is fascinating.
We'll have it for If anyone wants 2 pounds of beer cheese, you know where to find us.
This is really exciting to me. It's also overwhelming to really start thinking about it and think, man alive, where do I begin? My plastic bags are the place I begin, y'all. But from there on, this has really given me some insight. How do you feel about composting?
Right. So in the community where I live, we don't currently have a composting option. And so I will call friends, and I'm trying to send my food waste other places because it just drives me crazy and it grinds my gears to just have to throw food waste into the trash when it could be composted, because we are causing so much harm to our environment sending it to the landfill. I don't have my statistics on me, but we can pull those up and add them to your show another time.
Sure.
It is unbelievable. I mean, what type of emissions we are adding to the landfill.
So let me get this straight. The food waste that is thrown into the landfills with the trash doesn't help the trash break down?
It does not. And so depending on the type of food, there's a different period of time for it to become biodegradable. And some things will never. They just stay there forever. And it's all mixed together. So it's just creating, a lot of methane emissions. It's wild.
I am officially unschooled.
Here's a good one. So as a family, the most important thing you can do as a family is not be overwhelmed by this. Just start very simply. So do, as Mother Teresa would say, do small things with great love. Look around your house. Turn off your lights, kids. Make sure you're not running the water, for an extra period of time. Take a shorter shower. Turn your shower off when you're not, or when you're soaping up. Take your water bottle when you come home from school, water the plants. Don't throw it down the drain. Again, it's another resource, because my kids often remind me, they say, well, Mom, it'll be fine. Well, guess what? It took, resources to get the water here. So let's not waste that. So every aspect of your life, just look around the house. If your kids see a small piece of trash, just try to encourage them, show them that we are responsible for everything in this world. Whether it was our neighbor, whether it belonged to us, we are responsible. We have to be accountable.
Well, and I really appreciate you saying that, reiterating that fact, because like I said, I'd never considered all of this being a part of each other. It's this cycle. It's a cycle of life. And we have to think of ourselves as in and amongst it. While we're also loving and respecting ourselves, we have to love and respect the earth. We are all one. And it never really occurred to me like that. As you were talking about the little things that myself and my family can do, it reminded me, I have this book called 10 Things I Can Do to Help My World by Melanie Walsh. And we'll link it below, y'all. But it is a really hands-on book made from recycled material about little things that I'd say preschool, elementary kids can start doing to start being more environmentally conscious. Respect energy, respect water, respect the plants that grow, learning how to reuse tin cans to plant seeds. I really encourage you all to read this book, and quite frankly, the Thrasher crew to reread this book. I do have some facts that I found fascinating as I was getting ready for this episode, ladies. I was wanting to find facts that I could share with my children. The methane gas percentages and so forth, that's a little over their heads at this point. But I really found some interesting facts I think might hit home for my littles.
Great, let's hear it.
The first one is recycling one aluminum can saves enough energy to run a TV for 3 hours.
Ooh, I love the idea of making it like a game for them and see how many things they can find to recycle throughout the week, and then they earn back that value.
Yes.
That's awesome. Okay, cool.
Those are numbers they can see. Around 25,000 trees are cut down each day just to produce toilet paper.
Now, this is my question with the paper thing. As long as it's this is not even a word. I was going to say, is it renewable forest is what they call them? Like certain types of trees, like bamboo, I know can very easily be replanted and re-established. But there's other types of trees that once they are gone, they have a very hard time getting back that positive environmental effect that they once had. So Anyway, I'll have to look into that unless, Michelle, you have some thoughts on that.
So back to the idea of the hierarchy. Everything has to be focused on source reduction at the top and then reuse number 2. So we have to say, all right, this tree, it's going to be cut down. There's going to be a vehicle. There's going to be gas. So think about all the resources that are required to make that piece of paper.
It's not just the tree.
So it's not just the tree. And so, yes, it sounds lovely to recycle. And it is lovely to recycle, but it's number 2 on the pyramid. So we have to start with using less.
Love it.
Well, that, and even if we are growing trees in the acre we just chopped down, how long is it going to take for them to grow again? This is incredible. Okay, number 3, approximately 5 million tons of oil produced in the world each year ends up in the ocean. I feel like, well, first of all, that is so saddening and sickening. But if I'm going to put that into layman's terms for my children, I feel like we could really use some Play-Doh or fill up a jar and show them the quantity in relation to, I think there's some visual aids that could really hit home for the kids. Number 4, 78% of marine mammals are threatened by accidental deaths, such as getting caught in fishing nets. My kids love sea creatures, and I really feel like, I'm not trying to terrify them. I just want us to turn into mindful people.
Well, I think a super simple thing is, I don't even try to make a big deal about it, but we live in a community, like Erin mentioned, and if we see trash on the ground, we pick it up. And sometimes my son will be like, why are you picking that up, Mom? And I'll say, well, because this is a bird's home too. Do you want them to eat that? And he'll say no, and he'll go look for more trash. So something simple like that, I think kids can easily relate to.
Every Earth Day, we go out and take a bag to pick up trash. And they are so proud of all the trash and gunk they pick up. Ooh, look at that. I'm going to pick that one up. Why can't I be doing that
Saturday morning?
Every week.
$1 per bag that they pick up.
I love that idea. They love doing it once a year. They feel empowered. They feel helpful. That is one day we all feel conscientious. I can most certainly give that the time and effort needed to bring that more into our lives.
It's amazing to watch. You see a few children like yours out and, providing an example to the others, and then you watch a few others follow along. And so it's not just with the trash. There's an opportunity for something like gardening. Children love to dig. They love to garden. So they see a few kids planting and they want to get involved. And all of a sudden you have this beautiful project and they are so excited and proud. And again, there's this buy-in. Get them involved with these types of projects.
I love that. Oh, you guys have got me so excited. Here's a couple more facts. On average, one supermarket goes through 60 million paper bags each year. Scores of plastic bags are used as well. Yikes. Well, we already covered that one.
I'm going to make you your own Moms Unschooled reusable grocery bag.
Oh, thanks, y'all.
Okay.
No, I'm really excited. I definitely know that there is room for improvement there with me. And I know that is my first step in doing a little bit better. But I also wanted tools to grow from there as well. So yes, number 5, y'all. Erin's going to work on that. I hope you do too. Number 6. This one boggled my mind. A glass bottle can take 4,000 years to decompose. Mind blown. Here I thought, I used the glass salsa jar, threw it in the recyclables. I did my part. It's incredible. Number 7. Rainforests are being cut down at a rate of 100 acres per minute. Again, sickening, saddening. As I think about these facts and how to teach my children about these, I'm also thinking, what are we going to do our little part to make that a little bit better? I haven't gotten there yet. I don't know in terms of the visual I'm going to give my children.
Well, one thing especially about some of these environments where they may not be super familiar with, they might have read a book about a rainforest, but it's not like they're going out and getting to visit them. I love World Wildlife Foundation has these kind of adopt an orangutan, adopt a panther, where you can kind of learn more about the habitat that animal lives in, so they can feel a closer connection to a certain animal and understand that they would want to protect their environment and home as well.
I love that. And my children love the Rio movies. Blue macaws, they're all about it. That is one way of breaking it down to something that they can understand and really want to be behind.
I always had a whale growing up. Like each year I'd get a different animal. And you could pick. One of my first whale I adopted was Olympia. Maybe it's still out there. It's a blue whale somewhere.
Oh, here's hoping. Okay, how about the United States is the #1 trash producing country in the world?
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, even I probably could have guessed that one, unfortunately. This one was interesting to me. If the entire world lived like the average American, we'd need 5 planets to provide enough resources. Yikes. So those are the kind of things I definitely want to start having conversations with my children. And I think as I become more conscious, they'll become more conscious and then also hold me accountable. I have a couple children that would be delighted to call me out if I forgot my reusable bags and so on. And so I think that is yet another cycle that I think is going to create positivity in this family. So there's some fun facts for you. Those are the facts I'm going to go with to my children as we all educate ourselves and try to do a little bit more to do our part. Michelle, thank you so much for coming on and unschooling me and, quite frankly, getting me excited to take this on a little by little and also raise some little munchkins that are going to ultimately take over our planet too and be responsible for taking care and loving it. So thank you so much for helping us out today.
Thanks for listening to Moms Unschooled.
Subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, or email us at momsunschooled@gmail.com. Juicy!